Hello, writers. RJ Tessman here with more tips for your writing life. There are 4 concepts that I think we need to think more about adding to our writing. Sometimes we kind of forget about these things that are obvious part of our lives. And they can add texture and they can add description and they can add all kinds of beauty to the setting if we're writing a novel or even to what we're trying to convey in a nonfiction book or a nonfiction article. So, one of those concepts is wind. Here in the heartland of America, we have lots of wind. In fact, farmers, others will plant windbreaks just to protect land against the wind. But we can add it to our stories. Now, don't do It Was a Dark and Stormy Night. That's kind of been overdone by Snoopy and others. But things like the aspen leaves became symbols of sound as they shimmered in the breeze, or the elm trees lost their branches as the Kansas wind naturally pruned them. Those are just some of my examples. But you can, of course, try whatever works for you. Just remember that wind is part of our lives, so wind should also be part of our stories. And then light. Light can tell us a lot of things, like the time of day, or it can tell us even the time of the year if we're thinking about daylight savings time. Light can also give a sense of emotion to your main characters, or what if your main character suffers with seasonal affective disorder and needs to have light? So using light, the shadows of light, the beam of light, those kinds of things in your writing can add a great deal to what you're trying to convey. And then texture. I love texture. I love texture in pictures, in stories, even in the decor around my house, even in how I dress. I love texture. And a lot of people do. So think about texture because it's all around us, like the bark of an aspen tree compared to the bark of a bulky elm. Smooth prairie grasses have a particular type of texture. Crooked sticks versus straight sticks. All kinds of wood and texture, even of the furniture that's in the room where this novel takes place. And then the other concept is color. Color is also a big thing in my world. I love various kinds of colors. And when you write about color, think about the meanings of color. Like, for example, when I wrote my book, No Visible Scars, one of the big things was color. The main character is interested in more of the smoother, prettier colors, and she eventually has a dress that's made with freedom blue color. However, the antagonist, the bad guy, wears a red power tie because red signifies power, and that's what he was all about. So those were just 2 little color items that I added to my book. But think about color in your description, whether it's a novel or an article or a nonfiction book. You might even like to go to Home Depot and get some of those swatches of free swatches of color samples, paint samples. That can give you ideas for new colors. So in your writing, add these 4 concepts: wind, light, texture, and color. But above all, writers, keep writing because your words matter.